David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, breaking news. Iran launches missiles toward Israel, potentially a major escalation, and gunfire erupts at a festival in Ohio, leaving at least a dozen people wounded. We begin overseas. Iran has launched multiple waves of missiles toward Israel. It's the first Iranian attack on Israel since a ceasefire 2 months ago. Israel's military immediately took action to shoot the missiles down. President Trump says he's urging both sides to stop the fighting. All of this comes as the war with Iran hits 100 days. Hopes for a peace deal were already in jeopardy after new Israeli attacks inside Lebanon. We're on the ground in Israel tonight with the latest. Next, that mass shooting in Ohio, at least 12 people were wounded while attending a festival. Chaotic scenes as people flee the gunfire. Victims treated at the scene. Police believe 2 people may have opened fire on each other. Where the investigation stands tonight. Also tonight, President Trump will not rule out compensating January 6 rioters. He calls the anti-weaponization fund a great idea, even after a rare revolt by Senate Republicans. Deadly storms ripped through the Northeast. Partygoers ran for cover as fierce winds sent coolers flying into a pool. A driver rescued as floodwaters rose. Flash flood alerts are up in several states. Our weather team is timing it out. The Russia-Ukraine war is heating up with a Russian strike on a nuclear facility near the Chernobyl plant. Ukrainian drones attacked deep inside Russia with Vladimir Putin under growing pressure to end the war. Gold medal gymnast Simone Biles says she nearly died last week. What she's saying about her health scare. Security is heightened as the NBA Finals come to New York City with President Trump planning to attend. A watch party is canceled. No bags allowed inside Madison Square Garden. Fans are told to arrive 2 hours before the game. Plus, Jalen and Rick Brunson. One's the star player, the other an assistant coach. The exclusive sit-down telling our Will Reeve what it will take to win Game 3. And America Strong tonight, the 4th grader who helped save her dad's life thanks to a lesson she learned at school.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. We begin tonight with a new wave of attacks in the Middle East as the war between the U.S. and Iran reaches the bleak milestone of 100 days. These Iranian missiles were seen in the sky over Israel. It's the first time Tehran has launched strikes against Israel since that fragile ceasefire started back in April. Those strikes come after Lebanon's capital city of Beirut was targeted by Israeli strikes. Israeli forces say they were targeting Hezbollah militants. Israel is now vowing retaliation. The security minister quoted as saying, "Tonight, Tehran must burn." How President Trump is responding. ABC's Soufi Burridge leads us off from Jerusalem tonight.
Tonight, on day 100 of the war with Iran, the ceasefire cracking as Iran launches its first missile attacks on Israel in almost 2 months. Iran firing multiple waves of ballistic missiles at northern Israel. An Israeli security source saying at least 10 Iranian missiles were intercepted. There are no reports anyone was killed or injured in the attack. Iran retaliating against Israeli strikes earlier today on the Lebanese capital Beirut. The IDF saying it targeted Iranian-backed Hezbollah in the south of the city just hours after the militant group fired projectiles into northern Israel. Tonight, in a phone call with Fox News, President Trump reacting to Iran's attack on Israel, reportedly saying, quote, "What I would suggest to Iran, you've shot your missiles. That's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." And in another call tonight, Trump reportedly telling Axios he was about to phone Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and tell him not to retaliate by attacking Iran. But in a sign of the pressure Netanyahu will now face domestically and from within his own government, his far-right security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, posting in Hebrew on X, "Tonight, Tehran must burn." The Iranian attacks on Israel coming after the US military and Iran exchanged volleys of fire this weekend near to the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM saying it struck Iranian radar sites Saturday after it intercepted Iranian drones which were threatening ships. Iran then firing missiles at US allies, Kuwait and Bahrain.
And Tom joins us now live from Jerusalem. Tom, after Iran's attack on Israel, President Trump reportedly planned to speak on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. What more can you tell us about that call?
Yeah, Lindsay, just days ago, President Trump telling Netanyahu not to strike Beirut after Iran threatened to pull out of talks. Now, earlier tonight, before reports of a fresh phone call between the two leaders, an Israeli official telling us they did plan to retaliate against Iran. Key questions now. Did Trump tell Netanyahu not to? And what will be the Israeli response? Lindsay?
The world is all waiting and watching for that. Tom, thank you. And we turn now to the search for suspects after at least 12 people were shot during a festival in Toledo, Ohio. People were seen running for cover as gunfire erupted. Disturbing moments at the scene. People crouching in fear as others tried to aid the injured. Here's ABC's Andrew Dymburt.
Tonight, panic and chaos erupting after shots ring out at a popular summer festival in Toledo, Ohio. Video showing festival goers ducking for cover after an initial burst of gunfire, followed by another hail of shots. The shooting sending hundreds of people running for their lives.
It sounds as if there's going to be multiple people shot.
Police say a gunfight between at least two shooters left around a dozen people wounded Saturday night at the city's Old West End Festival. All 12 victims are now reported to be in stable condition, the victims ranging from 14 to 61 years old.
Everybody trying to find their kids.
First responders and Good Samaritans seen tending to the wounded.
It was a horrible sight. I walk over to see if I'm thinking like anybody need help, and there was quite a few people that need help.
And tonight, the intensifying manhunt to find the shooters. Investigators asking anyone who was at the festival to check their phones for videos or photos that might help police track down the suspects.
Video, information, talk to your kids. There's kids out there that probably know more than all of us standing here, right? So if they can help us out, that'd be great.
And organizers canceling the final day of the festival as those suspects remain at large. Festival organizers also releasing a statement saying in part they are heartbroken about those who were injured. Lindsay.
Frightening moments there, Andrew. Thank you. President Trump is defending a controversial compensation fund. It was intended for his supporters, including January 6 rioters who claim that they were targeted by the Biden administration. Last week, the DOJ backed off the plan. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selina Wang.
Tonight, President Trump refusing to rule out taxpayer compensation to rioters who attacked the Capitol on January 6, even those convicted of assaulting police officers. Trump still pushing his $1.8 billion so-called anti-weaponization fund to compensate those who claim they were wrongly targeted by the Justice Department during the Biden administration. That's despite the acting attorney general announcing they're scrapping the fund after rare revolt from Senate Republicans.
We are not moving forward with the fund.
Not moving forward ever.
Correct.
But Trump still defending the plan.
I think the weaponization fund is a great idea. Even going into the bill.
You'd be okay with them receiving taxpayer dollars?
The people were destroyed by dirty cops and by weaponization. Many of those people should be compensated.
This as Trump peddles an unsubstantiated claim that last week's California elections are rigged because after 4 days, the state isn't even close to finishing the count.
Do you have evidence to support
that? All I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not evidence.
And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But, sir, that's not evidence.
The Trump Justice Department now sending in a federal prosecutor to investigate voter fraud allegations in California. ABC's Melissa Adon is there.
California has a notoriously slow vote counting process, and it's driven mainly by its mail-in ballots. But here at the LA County Election Center, they're counting ballots, and as long as they're postmarked by Election Day, they will be counted.
And Lindsay, the U.S. attorney says multiple voter fraud investigations are now underway in California, but has provided no specifics or any evidence. Lindsay?
Selina Wang from the White House for us. Thank you. Now to the New York Knicks security crackdown for their first NBA Finals home game in 27 years. The team is banning bags and enforcing TSA-style security measures. President Trump is also planning to attend, which means even more law enforcement and Secret Service agents will be on hand. ABC's Perry Russum has more.
Tonight, the NYPD warning of a heightened risk as the NBA Finals head to Madison Square Garden. According to a police assessment obtained by ABC News, malicious actors may use high-profile sporting events as an attractive opportunity for targeted violence or disruption. Ahead of Game 3 Monday night, the New York Knicks ramping up security from TSA-style screening to a strict no-bag policy. Fans are being told to arrive at least 2 hours before tip-off to deal with the enhanced safety measures.
Police have the barricades ready to go. They are lined up around the entire arena.
The Secret Service will be here as President Trump says he's coming to the game. The New York City native and Knicks fan would become the first sitting president to attend the NBA Finals.
I think the Knicks have an amazing team the way they played.
A watch party outside the arena has been canceled. Thousands of fans showing up to MSG Friday night for a Game 2 watch party. The crowd turning chaotic. 26 people taken into custody. One person accused of punching a police officer in the face multiple times.
We will have no tolerance for violence.
It comes as soccer fans from around the world descend on New York City. World Cup matches start at MetLife Stadium in just a matter of days. Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen says drones are his biggest safety concern. He says all 11 World Cup venues in the U.S. have counter-drone equipment.
I also have concerns outside the stadium in the Fan Fest area and the soft areas that's outside security.
Today, FBI Director Kash Patel says tactical teams are being mobilized for the World Cup. He says they have been training for months and are ready for anything, Lindsay.
Lots of activity going on. Perry, thank you. We'll have much more of the NBA Finals coming up later in the show. Now to those severe storms leaving a trail of destruction across the Northeast. This time-lapse video shows a thunderstorm rolling across Connellsville, Pennsylvania, 35 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Several downed trees were reported in the area, and severe weather is being blamed for the death of an elderly man after a tree fell on him in a New York City park. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, severe weekend storms turning deadly. An 85-year-old man killed when a tree fell on a vehicle. 8 others injured during the dangerous late spring storms. In West Virginia, powerful winds ripping away this tent during an NCAA baseball game between West Virginia University and Cal Poly. In Texas, heavy rain washing out roads as storms rolled across the Dallas-Fort Worth area. First responders rescuing this woman from a car stranded in rising floodwater in Bell County. In New York City, high winds sending partygoers running for cover at a rooftop celebration. Coolers sent flying into the pool, seat cushions blown away. Several high-profile events canceled because of the weather. The Yankees-Red Sox game postponed after a rain delay. And the Governor's Ball Music Festival closing early as storms moved in.
And Lindsay, at least 400 flights delayed yesterday at JFK, and tonight more severe weather on the way for parts of the northern plains. Lindsay?
Hopefully it won't be so bad. Our thanks to Morgan for that. And let's bring in meteorologist Jeff Smith from our New York station, WABC. So, Jeff, tell us about this flash flood that you're concerned about.
Yeah, we have very slow-moving thunderstorms, especially around Huntsville, Alabama. Flash flood emergency in that area this afternoon. And that's a particularly dangerous situation. Flash flood watches extend at parts of Tennessee. We're also talking about Fort Smith, Arkansas, up through Springfield, Missouri. This is part of a wider band of flood risk, the most significant of which is over northern Alabama, but extends all the way up to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, into the overnight hours of tonight. Meanwhile, a brief cool down along the East Coast, upper 70s in a place like New York City during the day tomorrow, but we quickly warm things back up into the upper 80s by Wednesday. And we could be challenging record highs, Lindsay, along the I-95 corridor by Thursday into Friday.
Could be breaking some records. All right, Jeff, thank you. Overseas now to Russia's war on Ukraine. The attacks from both sides are escalating. This week was one of the deadliest since this war started more than 4 years ago. President Zelenskyy is in London for talks with European allies. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports tonight from Moscow. Ian?
Yeah, Lindsay, as U.S. support for Ukraine wanes, key European nations are trying to fill the void, meeting with Zelenskyy in London today as signs grow that Russia's war may be faltering. Russia hitting a storage depot near Chernobyl, the radioactive nuclear power plant that exploded 40 years ago. Meanwhile, Ukraine unleashing another massive attack, an oil depot engulfed in flames in Russia's southern Krasnodar, and Putin's hometown, St. Petersburg, suffering the largest Ukrainian attack of the war. Meanwhile, the Russian president rejecting Zelenskyy's offer to meet face-to-face. But with growing Russian casualties, a suffering economy and increased Ukrainian drone capabilities, Putin is now under growing pressure to finally end this war. Lindsay?
Ian Pannell for us in Moscow. Thank you. Now to Pope Leo's historic trip to Spain. More than 1 million people gathered as the Chicago native held an open-air mass in central Madrid. ABC's Marcus Moore is traveling with the Pope and joins us now. Marcus.
Lindsay, it is truly an astonishing number. 1.2 million people attending that open-air mass today, according to police, and really striking scenes there as the Pope Mobile made its way through the streets of the capital here. Pope Leo is the first pope to visit Spain in 15 years, so this is truly a monumental moment for the church and for Spain, which, like so many countries, is faced with challenges, including immigration issues and also political divisions. The Pope is bringing his message of unity, and also in this age of technology where people are consumed by their phones, he's encouraging young people to engage with one another. This week, Pope Leo has many more public appearances scheduled, including meeting with migrant families, and tomorrow he will be the first pope ever to address Spain's parliament. Lindsay.
Busy agenda there, Marcus. Thank you. And there's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, including an update on the search for two men missing for weeks inside a flooded cave. And later, Brunson and Brunson, the father and son, hoping to win the NBA title. Next tonight, international rescuers have suspended their search for two men missing in a waterlogged cave in Laos. The teams are heading back home after more than 2 weeks. 5 other miners were rescued. The divers say the site is now too unstable and the chances of finding the two men alive is very low. Local teams intend to keep searching. Gold medal gymnast Simone Biles has revealed she experienced a medical emergency last week. An Instagram story shows her wearing hospital bracelets. Biles says she almost died but gave no details, describing the episode as one of, if not the scariest experience of her life. Biles, who is 29 years old, says she's been in bed resting all week, and she'll explain what happened sooner or later. When we come back, the father and son teaming up with their eyes on the NBA title. New York City is all set for the NBA Finals. The Knicks lead the San Antonio Spurs 2-0. Game 3 is tomorrow night. Ike Ajachi has a preview.
Tonight, Madison Square Garden prepares to host Game 3 of the NBA Finals, the first Finals game on this floor in 27 years.
The Garden going to be rocking. In this city, we love our Knicks, so they're going to come out, show love, support, and, the energy is going to be electric.
Last time, 1999. Same opponent, same stage.
On the drive.
The Knicks have not lost a game since April 23rd.
Puts it in.
One of the longest playoff streaks in NBA history. Game 1 in San Antonio, a 10-point Knicks win. Game 2, a 1-point nail-biter.
Stolen by Brunson and knocked down by Wemby.
After a costly turnover from Spurs superstar Victor Wembanyama.
We did a lot of things wrong, but we also were relentless.
But the Spurs aren't giving up. Head coach Mitch Johnson says the team has not played up to their standard.
We got one game tomorrow night at 8:30 in Madison Square Garden. It's the only game that matters, and we got to come in here ready to win it.
San Antonio says they understand the challenge. Teams with a 2-0 series lead have gone on to win the series 86% of the time. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson exclusively telling ABC it's important to stay the course and that the team is ready to meet the moment.
Obviously things are different, things are heightened or whatever, but their approach, the mentality, all this has to stay the same.
Lindsay, in order to get inside tomorrow night, you're going to have to pay. After the final whistle in Game 2, the cheapest ticket spiked to nearly $12,000, and those top seats over $100,000, surpassing the Super Bowl. Lindsay?
Huge money there. All right, Ike Ajachi, our thanks to you. Game 3 is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on ABC, and tomorrow morning on GMA, more of Will Reeves' exclusive interview with the Knicks' Jalen Brunson and his dad. When we come back, America Strong. How a lesson learned at school helped a young girl save a life. Finally, America Strong, the girl who gave her dad the greatest gift of all.
Fourth grader Magnolia Bridegroom was home on a snowy day in January with her parents and twin sister Lydia. An ordinary morning until it wasn't.
I woke up to my mom yelling my name.
Her father had collapsed after shoveling snow.
I saw my dad laying on the ground on our front porch and my mom doing CPR with the 911 dispatcher on her phone.
For 7 minutes, Magnolia's mother performed chest compressions. But then she needed help.
The 911 operator asked if anybody else could help, and Magnolia said, I can. She stepped in. She started compressions.
A fourth grader helping to keep her father alive until paramedics could arrive and rush him to the hospital. Today, he's back home and doing well, and Magnolia knows exactly where she learned what to do. At Oxbow Elementary School, her PE teacher, Miss Kriz, has taught CPR every year since kindergarten.
We have about a half dozen CPR dummies that kindergartners through fourth graders get to practice on once a year. She put that practice into a phenomenal use.
This week, Magnolia received the American Heart Association's Heart Saver Hero Award, proof that sometimes the lessons children carry home from school are bigger than grades or tests. Sometimes they're life-saving.
Critical lesson there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Lindsay Davis. Have a great night.
David Muir, the most trusted, most watched newscast in America. And now, World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 4th year in a row.